Walk into any supermarket in the world, anyone. Tokyo, São Paulo, Amsterdam, a Walmart in Texas, or a Tesco in Manchester. And within 30 seconds, without thinking, you already know where things are. The milk is at the back. The bread is in the farthest corner. There are flowers near the entrance and candy near the register. You have never been in this specific store before, and yet, you know, that is not a coincidence. That is not common sense, and it is definitely not random. What you are walking through is one of the most carefully engineered environments on Earth. Every tile, every turn, every product you pass has been placed there for a reason. And the reason is almost never what you think it is. The floor beneath your feet is doing something you cannot see. It is guiding your pace. It is pulling your eyes. It is deciding, before you even pick up a basket, how long you will stay, which direction you will walk, and how much money you will spend. It is, by any reasonable measure, the most effective silent salesperson in the history of retail. And here is the strangest part. This system was not designed by a team of psychologists in a lab. It was invented by a single man in Memphis, Tennessee in 1916. A man who had never heard of behavioral science. A man who simply wanted to fire his clerks. His name was Clarence Saunders. And the store he built, with one entrance, one exit, and a single forced path past every product on the shelf, changed the way every human being on Earth buys food. This is the story of how that happened, and why, more than 100 years later, his design still controls the way you shop. Before September 1916, grocery shopping looked nothing like it does today. You walked into a store. You handed a list to a clerk behind a counter. The clerk gathered your items, wrapped them, and rang you up. You never touched a product until you paid for it. You never browsed. You never wondered. Then Clarence Saunders opened a store called Piggly Wiggly at 79 Jefferson Street in Memphis, and he broke every rule the grocery business had. Piggly Wiggly had no clerks gathering products. It had turnstiles at the entrance, open shelves lining a single one-way path, and a checkout counter at the exit. Customers picked up a basket, walked through the store, and selected their own goods. Every single product in the store was visible. Every item had a price tag, something that had never been standard before. A month after opening, Saunders filed a patent. Not for a product, for a store layout. US Patent 1,242,872, the self-serving store. It was granted in 1917. What Saunders understood, instinctively, without data, was this: if you force a customer to walk past everything you sell, they will buy things they did not come in for. He positioned candy at the checkout counter, a move that seemed trivial at the time but would become the most copied retail tactic in history. And he was right about something else too. The losses from shoplifting were more than offset by the profits from impulse purchasing. Piggly Wiggly expanded fast. Within a few years, it had franchises across the country. The self-service model was no longer an experiment. It was the future. But there was a problem. Customers stopped shopping when their basket got full. Not because they did not want more, because their arms gave out. 20 years later, in 1937, a man named Sylvan Goldman sat in his office in Oklahoma City, staring at a folding chair. Goldman owned the Humpty Dumpty supermarket chain, and he had been watching his customers struggle with heavy baskets for months. That night, he and a mechanic named Fred Young put wheels on the legs of a folding chair and mounted a wire basket on the seat. The shopping cart was born. Nobody wanted it. Men thought it made them look weak. Women compared it to pushing a baby stroller. Goldman had to hire actors, men and women, to walk through his stores pushing carts, just to normalize the idea. Within weeks, real customers followed. Within years, the carts were everywhere. But Goldman had not just invented a tool, he had accidentally triggered an architectural arms race. To make these carts effective, supermarkets had to evolve. Over the next decade, accelerated by the post-war suburban boom and the rise of the automobile, aisles grew wider. Stores doubled in size. The floor plan was no longer just a path, it became a corporate strategy. By the 1990s, a researcher named Paco Underhill had started doing something no one had done before: filming shoppers. Thousands of hours of footage inside supermarkets, tracked with cameras. And what he found confirmed what Saunders had intuited 80 years earlier, and added a layer no one expected. 90% of customers, upon entering a store, turn right, Not because they choose to, not because of signage, because of their body. This is where the layout stops being a business decision and starts being a science. The right turn bias is not a habit. It is a physical tendency. Most people are right-handed, and right-handed people naturally veer to the right when entering an open space. Underhill documented this in thousands of hours of footage. Supermarkets responded by placing their highest margin products on the first wall you see after turning right, what the industry calls the power wall. It is the single most valuable piece of real estate in any grocery store, and you walk past it without knowing it exists. But there is a second, deeper layer to this geometry. While many stores leverage that natural right turn, sending you counterclockwise around the perimeter, others deliberately force you to do the opposite, to walk clockwise. Why? Because if you walk clockwise, your left hand stays on the shopping cart handle, leaving your dominant right hand free to do one thing, and one thing only: reach for the shelf. But the manipulation starts even before that. The first 5 to 10 feet inside any supermarket entrance is called the Decompression Zone. This is where your brain transitions from the outside world to the store environment. You're adjusting to the lighting, the temperature, the sound. Your senses are recalibrating. Nothing you see in this zone registers. Anything placed here is wasted. That is why the entrance of nearly every supermarket features flowers, fresh fruit, or a bakery. Not because those products need to be at the front, because they serve a different purpose entirely. They trigger what psychologists call the health halo effect, a subconscious sense that this store is fresh, wholesome, trustworthy. That feeling follows you through the rest of the trip, making you more willing to add items to your cart. The silent salesperson does not shout, it whispers. Once past the decompression zone, you enter the grid, and the grid has rules. Rule 1, eye level is buy level. Products placed at eye height sell roughly 35% more than those placed higher or lower. Brands pay thousands of dollars in slotting fees per shelf, per store, just to sit at your natural line of sight. The cereal your child begs for is not at your eye level, it is at theirs. Rule 2, essentials live at the back. Milk, bread, eggs. The products you came for, the reason you walked into the store, are always in the farthest possible corner. Not because of refrigeration logistics. Walk-in coolers can be installed anywhere. They are at the back because every extra meter you walk is another meter of product exposure, another shelf you glance at, another chance for something to end up in your cart. Rule 3, end caps sell. The displays at the end of each aisle are not overflow. They are premium advertising space. Products placed on end caps see sales increases of up to 30%, even without a discount. The position itself implies a deal, whether one exists or not. Rule 4, the checkout is the last battlefield. Small, inexpensive products, candy bars, gum, magazines, batteries, line the checkout lane. You are standing still. You are bored. Your willpower is at its lowest point. And the products surrounding you cost just enough to feel insignificant, but just enough to add up. Every one of these principles exists in virtually every supermarket on Earth. Not because someone copied someone else's homework, because they all work. They are not theories, they are measured, tested, and optimized quarter by quarter. But how much do they actually move the needle? The numbers, when you see them, are difficult to believe. Up to 62% of all grocery store revenue comes from unplanned purchases, not impulse buys on candy. 62% of everything: meat, cheese, snacks, cleaning products. The majority of what ends up in the average shopping cart was never on the list. The average American spends $282 per month on purchases they did not plan to make. That is more than $3,000 a year, and 80% of those unplanned purchases happen in physical stores, not online. The screen has not replaced the store. The floor still wins. These are not projections. These are measured consumer spending patterns, tracked across millions of transactions. And every single design decision in a supermarket, every tile, every aisle width, every shelf height, is calibrated to push those numbers higher. Look at Costco. Costco deliberately does not label its aisles. There are no signs telling you where the peanut butter is. This is not laziness. It is a strategy the industry calls treasure hunt shopping. If you cannot find what you need quickly, you search. And while you search, you discover. You pass a coat you are not looking for, a kitchen appliance on sale, a display of wine you did not know they carried. The confusion is the point. Costco wins by removing the map entirely. But on the other side of the retail spectrum, IKEA wins by doing the exact opposite. IKEA uses the modern evolution of Clarence Saunders' 1917 patent. They do not let you wander, they force you. One way in, one way out. A single path through the entire store. You cannot skip departments, you cannot jump ahead. You see everything, whether you want to or not. Two completely different strategies. One removes all structure, the other removes all choice. And the result is identical. You buy things you did not plan to buy. The silent salesperson wears different masks, but it is always the same face underneath. And there is one more tactic that almost no customer notices. Supermarkets regularly rearrange their layouts. Not because they got new shelves, because your brain adapts. After enough visits, you develop muscle memory. You stop looking. You walk directly to the products you need, ignoring everything else. Your autopilot kicks in, and autopilot is the enemy of impulse purchasing. So they move the pasta. They swap the cereal and the canned goods. They shift the bakery. And for a week, your autopilot breaks. You look around again. You browse. Sales dip briefly. Shoppers buy less when they cannot find what they need. But within 2 weeks, spending recovers and often exceeds the previous baseline. Because now you are noticing products again. The silent salesperson got a renovation, and you are paying for it. Today, the engineering has gone digital. Supermarkets use heat mapping software that tracks where customers walk, where they pause, where they reach. Planogram algorithms determine which products sit on which shelves, optimized per store, per season, per demographic. Some chains run A/B tests on aisle layouts the same way a tech company tests a landing page. The floor plan is no longer designed by a merchandising manager with a clipboard. It is designed by data. And all of this, the counterclockwise flow, the decompression zone, the power wall, the forced walk to the milk, the checkout gauntlet, all of it traces back to a man in Memphis who wanted to save money on Clerks. But there is one element of the supermarket that almost nobody talks about. And it might be the most effective manipulation of all. It is not something you see, it is something you hear and something you smell. In 1982, a marketing researcher named Ronald Milliman published a study that the grocery industry has never forgotten. He tested what happens when you change the tempo of background music in a supermarket. When the music was slow, under 72 beats per minute, shoppers moved slower. They spent more time in the store. And they spent 38% more money. Not a little more. 38%. The music you hear in a supermarket is not a playlist someone put on shuffle. It is selected by tempo, by genre, sometimes by time of day. Morning shoppers hear something different than evening shoppers. Weekend music is different from weekday music. The rhythm is a tool, and you never notice it because you are not supposed to. Then there is the smell. Walk into a supermarket, and you might catch the scent of fresh bread or roasted coffee. You assume there is a bakery nearby, or someone just brewed a pot. Sometimes that is true, sometimes it is not. Some retailers use scent diffusion systems, machines connected to the ventilation, that pump specific aromas into specific zones. The bread smell near the entrance is not always bread. It is a signal. It tells your brain that this store is fresh, that the food here is good, that you can trust what you are buying. And it goes deeper than sound and smell. The floor color beneath your feet changes between departments. Lighter tiles in the produce section, clean, clinical, fresh. Darker flooring near the wine and deli. Warm, rich, premium. You do not consciously notice the transition, but your perception of the products shifts with the surface beneath your shoes. The temperature shifts too. The produce section runs colder, the bakery is warmer. These are not accidents of HVAC engineering. They are deliberate sensory anchors designed to make each department feel like a different experience, even though you never left the building. The supermarket is not a store, it is a machine built to control pace, attention, emotion, and behavior. Every input, visual, auditory, olfactory, even tactile, is tuned to a single output, a bigger receipt at the checkout. And the people who designed it knew exactly what they were doing. So the next time you walk into a supermarket and turn right without thinking, past the flowers, past the fruit, past the bakery that smells like someone just pulled bread from the oven. Remember this, that turn was not your idea. The flowers are not there because that is where flowers belong. They are there because your brain needs a moment to adjust, and color is the fastest way to make you feel welcome. The bread is not at the back because the ovens are there. The bread is at the back because you have to walk past 6 aisles of things you do not need to reach it. The candy at the checkout. The cereal at your child's eye level. The end cap that looks like a deal but is not. The music that slows your steps. The scent that is not coming from a kitchen. All of it. Designed, tested, optimized. Clarence Saunders in 1916 did not know the phrase consumer psychology. He did not have heat maps or planogram software. He had one idea. Let the customer walk past everything and they will buy more. He was right. And 100 years later, the world's largest corporations, Walmart, Carrefour, Tesco, Costco, Albert Heijn, are still running variations of his patent. The silent salesperson has never taken a day off. It does not need a commission. It does not need a break. It works 7 days a week, in every store, in every country, on every customer who walks through the door. And the thing that makes it so effective is the thing that makes it invisible. You are not supposed to know it is there. But now you do. The question is not whether supermarkets are designed to make you spend more. They are. That is settled. The question is simpler than that, and harder to answer. Now that you know, will you shop any differently?